America strikes back. Afghanistan is pounded with bombs and missiles from the air and sea.
We are supported by the collective will of the world.
Homeland Security has stepped up to protect against retaliation, and bin Laden himself sends a videotaped threat to the American people.
From NBC News World Headquarters in New York, this is NBC Nightly News with Tom Brokaw.
Good evening. American-led military attacks against targets throughout Afghanistan continue tonight, even as the first emergency food and medical supplies for the beleaguered Afghan people are in the air. And if there was any doubt about the role of Osama bin Laden in the September 11th attacks, his threats to America tonight were a chilling reminder of his hatred. NBC's Jim Miklaszewski is at the Pentagon tonight with the latest on the early strikes and the continuing action in that part of the world. Jim?
Tom, the first of these military strikes appear to have just about ended for the night, but officials here at the Pentagon say these attacks are far from over. Missile explosions light up the nighttime skies. Anti-aircraft tracers streak over the capital city, Kabul. The first wave, 50 Tomahawk cruise missiles like these, fired from U.S. and British ships and submarines. 25 warplanes off the aircraft carriers Carl Vinson and Enterprise launched strikes from the Indian Ocean. And long-range bombers dropping precision-guided weapons, B-52s, B-1s, and these two B-2 stealth bombers, seen here early this morning at Whiteman Air Force Base in Missouri, flying more than 10,000 miles in 14 hours to drop their bombs. At the Pentagon, Defense Secretary Donald Rumsfeld announces the shooting war against terrorism is on.
The only way to deal with these terrorist threats is to go at them where they exist.
The targets, the Taliban military, air defense systems, command and control bunkers, airfields and warplanes around Kabul, Jalalabad, and Kandahar. Also, terrorist training camps of Osama bin Laden and his al-Qaeda terrorist network. But in this first wave, not bin Laden himself. But in a message released late today, apparently videotaped before the attack, a defiant bin Laden issues an ominous warning of more terrorist attacks against American targets.
And for the United States, I want to tell the United States and its people, I swear by God, by Allah, He who has praised the sky, that the United States will not have peace.
U.S. sources tell NBC News this first round of airstrikes could last 3 or 4 days. The most immediate objective, to disarm and disable the Taliban military, to permit opposition groups to take control. That would make it safer then for U.S. special forces to hunt down and root out Osama bin Laden and his terrorist cells.
I want to remind you that while today's operations are visible, many other operations may not be so visible.
But Rumsfeld warns today that this or any other military operation alone will not eliminate the terrorist threat.
The fact is, in this battle against terrorism, there is no silver bullet. There is no single thing that is going to suddenly make that threat disappear.
And to drive home the point, this is not an attack against Afghanistan or its people. Today's strikes ended with an airdrop of food, 35,000 packets, to starving Afghan refugees. Pentagon officials say there's no indication that this first strike took out bin Laden, and the Taliban says that its leaders survived. But one senior military official confidently predicts tonight that no matter how long it takes, we'll get them. Tom?
NBC Jim Miklaszewski at the Pentagon tonight. Thanks very much. Now let's go to Afghanistan, where NBC News correspondents are also in place. First, Tom Aspel, who's on the front line between the Northern Alliance and the Taliban. Tom, what could you see from where you are?
Tom, the first indications we knew that an attack was underway was the sparkle of AAA anti-aircraft artillery fire over the skies just above the city of Kabul, followed by the orange blossom of explosions. Now, we couldn't hear it from here, but one after another we saw these big orange balls in the sky lit up just above the city there, and then in return some anti-aircraft fire going up from the west and the east of the city, searching up into the sky. Now, the surprising thing to us, not much anti-aircraft fire at all, suggesting that the Taliban knew that there were Tomahawk missiles, had no way of knowing exactly what was up there, and was searching the sky rather than going at selected targets. That also telling us that the command and control centers, perhaps, one of the targets of the first attack, and the Taliban really no idea exactly what they were shooting at. Tom?